Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Today's the Day Changemakers Podcast. I am Jody Grunwald. This week, my guest is Sylvia Morrison. Sylvia is the founder and director of Links Across Borders in Ghana. She builds libraries and villages so that children can read books. She's a humanitarian, a change maker, and now a first-time author of a new book that is just coming out titled Grace's Lunch. This is the second time that Sylvia is a guest on the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast, and I have brought her back on to share some incredible and important messages that have helped me as well as many others along their journeys. She's a mentor to many, and I am so excited to share that Sylvia will also be the 2024 Inspire Change honoree for the Today's the Day Changemakers International Forum. She led 2 panels at the last forum and deserves this incredible honor for the incredible human that she is. Please go to linksacrossborders.org to learn more, and go to amazon.com to order her book, Grace's Lunch. If possible, please purchase her book and send it to Links Across Borders. Let's fill her libraries in Ghana with her books so she can show the children that not only do they know an author, but they can become one as well. Please subscribe to the Today's the Day Changemakers YouTube channel. Stream this podcast on all streaming sites. Reviews and shares are always welcomed and help us to be heard. Like us on Facebook and Instagram by going to Today is the Day, Live It. To learn more about Today is the Day consulting and coaching services and the new Today is the Day Changemakers Connective, go to todayisthedayliveit.com. Sign up for our mailing list to be notified when new events and networking opportunities become available. Also, I am the CEO and co-founder of the Zach G. Applauder Kids Foundation. To learn more about how the organization is connecting children with a financial need to an ongoing creative outlet, go to applaudourkids.org. The views expressed by all Today's the Day Changemakers podcast guests are their own. Their appearance on the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast does not imply any endorsement of them or any entity that they represent. Have a great week, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast. I am Jody Grunwald, and every single week for the last 3 seasons, I have said that I interview the changemakers, the inspirers, and those who are disrupting the status quo in the best way possible. And today, it is a great honor that I get to interview my friend. She was on my podcast in the first season, and she is my friend now, Sylvia Morrison. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Jody, and I'm happy to be here.
I'm so happy that you're here. You are the founder extraordinaire of Links Across Borders. Tell everyone where you're coming in from.
I'm coming in from a little village in Ghana, West Africa. I'm in Toje, West Africa.
Just absolutely incredible. And thank God for technology. We're so grateful for this technology that I can absolutely interview you and with a strong connection here. You know, Sylvia, you had shared in our very first interview about your journey with Links Across Borders. But for those who don't know, I think it'd be really good to recap. And this is the first time I'm actually bringing on a guest for the second time to give an update on something very exciting. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But let's start out with your journey with Links Across Borders.
Thank you. I love talking about Links Across Borders and the journey because it is not only the journey of the organization, it really is also my personal journey with communities here in Ghana. So Links Across Borders was born several years ago from a conversation that I was having with a friend of mine around Christmastime in 2003. As she was doing a Christmas party, sending money for her mother to host a Christmas party in Ghana. We were in Toronto at the time, and I was just inspired by the idea of sending a few dollars to Ghana and hosting a Christmas party for children. And February of the following year, we saw pictures from the party, and my heart just felt so good about that we started to have conversations about the children. And she told me that many of these children who were at the party do not go to school. And I noticed that the feeling in me changed from, being delighted and excited and happy that we had sent money home to host a Christmas party. I was now feeling that it wasn't okay that these children were not going to school. So I thought I could do something about that. And I asked her to find out from her mother what it could cost to send kids to school and so on. And we got that information a few weeks later when her mom sent a list of the names of children, as I had asked. And I picked 6 names from the list and decided that I would pay school fees for those children. And so I did that for many years. And then, well, for 3 years. And then in 2006, I woke up one morning and Spirit said, this is the year to go to Ghana. And I just decided that I was going to do it. And when folks ask me, why are you going to Ghana? I say to them, I'm going to visit my children. And so I started coming to Ghana to visit my children. And you know, the first year that I came, I noticed that children didn't have books in the various villages that I spent some time. Then I came the following year and I would notice it. And for 6 years, I kept coming each year. And I just felt more and more that children needed access to books. And, you know, there's a saying that I really believe, I don't remember whose quote this is, but it is that if you think someone should do something about that, remember that you are someone. And so as I was thinking that someone needs to do something about the fact that children here in Ghana in rural villages did not have access to books, I remembered that I am someone. And so I decided in 2012 that I would build the first library in 2013. And we did that.
That's absolutely amazing. Totally amazing. Were books something that were very important to you growing up yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm glad you asked that because I probably wouldn't have said it. So for me, the reason I noticed it was such a stark realization for me that children didn't have access to books is because I grew up in Jamaica, in a village that looked like any of the villages that I've been in. You know, I would see children who look like me. Some of their houses looked like my house, you know. And so I felt like they were reminding me of my own childhood, and the picture that I was missing, the image that I was missing from that whole picture was a little girl holding a book, sitting under a tree, just reading, just because that used to be my life as a little girl growing up. I spent a lot of time, just me and a book. There was a little library in my village, and there was an old woman, and for us it's fine to say an old woman because she was old and she is happy to be old. And so she was an old woman in my village, Miss Hilda, who I think it would be 2 or 3 times a week that she would be going to the library. And I don't think Miss Hilda was being paid, but she would go and open the library for an afternoon at a time. And I would, as soon as she would walk by my house, I would be in the library behind her. Until after a while, she would start saving particular books, hiding them here and there for me, because she now had an idea of the topic, the titles that I liked, you know. And so I traveled the world through books as a child. There were times when I would return to school after a long, you know, a summer vacation or a long break from school, and would return to school. And usually your teacher would ask you to write an essay about the vacation you were on, the break you were on from school. And there were times when I would return to school and my essay would be about a vacation that really wasn't in my real life. It was one that I would imagine because of all the stories I had read. And back then as a child, I really meant it when I wrote those essays. So my teacher would sometimes ask me, is this yours? And I would say, yes, beautifully written story about my vacation. But as I grew up, I realized I was actually just writing based on the books that I had traveled through. So I didn't just read books, read words. I actually traveled in those stories. And I wanted that for children in Ghana, and I still do. I still do. Yeah.
So now, at this point, how many libraries have you opened?
We have opened 8 libraries in Ghana, and we have several reading clubs in schools that do not have libraries, some of them, and some in which we have created libraries. It's just it fills my heart. It really fills my heart. It feels from me, that as I'm doing this for children in Ghana, it actually feels like I'm doing it for me, for the girl me. Miss Hilda has passed on, but I feel like I'm giving to them what she gave to me. And I don't know if she realized then what she was actually giving to me. And I didn't know it either, what it was. I didn't realize it either, how profound that was, how much it would impact my life. But it throughout my whole life, that has been a cornerstone in my foundation. And so I'm really happy to give this to children here in Ghana. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to stop there for a second. It's such an important point. I think that sometimes we don't realize the impact of the words that somebody says or the action that somebody does to help and support us. It could be something in passing. It could be something big, like introducing you to books and opening up a whole new world, because that's a big thing. And it could be something like you've done for me. Your support and through Today's the Day and Changemakers in the forum and your kind words and your kind soul. And we formulated a friendship from an interview. And I don't think we oftentimes thank the mentors and the people in our lives that we may not live close together. I may not be able to give you a hug and thank you in person, but there's other ways to thank people and make sure that we show gratitude. So I'm just going to say to my listeners right now, who is that person in your life that you might not have thanked or given gratitude? Because when you do that, just more seems to come back to you. And you don't do it for that reason, but you do it because your heart is full and you want to give back to the person who gave to you. And I know you have something to share on this because you are very big into this. So I want to open it up for you to share on this.
Absolutely. I really do believe that gratitude is the vibration on which all of the desires in our hearts that we're looking to have manifest, the things we want in our lives, it is on the vibration of gratitude that we are going to attract it into our lives. And I notice that when I am in gratitude about something, big or small, or even something that I'm hoping will happen, that my whole self feels different, and also that my problems, whatever those are, when they show up, are not as big. They don't feel as enormous, because being on a vibration of gratitude really connects you with the source of all goodness. That's my experience. When I am in gratitude, the source of all goodness is so very present in my environment that challenges do not seem as enormous. And I actually feel like they're here to help me grow. So being in gratitude is wonderful.
I do notice something, and I want to hear what your thoughts are on this too, is that when you focus on a challenge that you're facing and you get yourself so deep into it, all of a sudden right behind it comes another one. It's almost as if you are attracting more and more of them. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. You just hit the nail on the head right there. Because where we put our focus is where we attract from. So if I'm focusing on problems, universe says, oh, she likes problems. Let's give her some more so that she can focus. She enjoys having problems. She likes being able to put her attention on problems. So let's give her some more problems. If I'm putting my focus on what I want, that's why even when I talk to my clients, I say, or even my friends, I say, focus on the thing that you want. Sometimes it's hard to do it, but do it. So what's the problem that is present with me right now, let's say, is here. It has happened, but that's not what I want. So what do I want? In order to be able to change my focus, I think about, okay, this problem has happened or is happening. What do I want? Put my focus there. Start thinking about that thing. What do I want? Oh, the faucet has broken. The water is running out. I don't know how to, right? I could put all my attention there of all how it is leaking and washing away things and flooding my house. Or I can start thinking, oh my goodness, the faucet has broken. The water is coming out. I'd love to have somebody, please help me find a great plumber to show up with tools and the expertise and the willingness to fix this for me right now. So the water will stop. I won't have to deal with flooding, and I would be so happy to carry on with my day. It's the same event, but I'm looking at another view of it. It being resolved. I can look at it happening, or I can look at it being resolved. That's it. So sometimes folks say, oh, you're just in denial. No, you're not in denial. What you are in is thinking about what you want to happen. Because it can happen. The things that happen are the things we think about.
Well, and I know that you have a story about this, don't you? Where you didn't know how you were going to fund and you didn't know how it was all going to come together. And do you want to share a little bit about that? Because I love that.
Yes, because so, and that is why I can talk about just acting on the desire in your heart for good without knowing all the details. I didn't learn that in a book. I have learned that from experience. And so that's why I talk a bit more about it more than anything else, because I want to encourage and inspire each one of us, all of us, to do that. When I started Links Across Borders, I honestly didn't know what I was doing. It was step by step. When I announced that I was going to build the first library, I had no idea how much it would cost, who I would need, how it was going to be done at all. I didn't know where the books would come from. I didn't know how I was going to organize getting them. I didn't know how they would arrive from Toronto to Ghana. But I said out loud from my mouth to many people, I am going to build a library next year. And then I thought, okay, where am I going to build it? Where? In Ghana. And so I said to friends of mine who were with me at the time, in fact, at the time they were not my friends yet, but they were Ghanaians on the ground who knew about what's needed, and I trusted them. And I said, you tell me in which village we should do this. Yeah. And I said, whichever community you pick, I'm fine with that, as long as the community is ready to do that. And so they picked a community, and we started doing the work, I'm sending the funding, and they've started the logistics on the ground and so on. And then in a few months, they said to me, it doesn't look like we're going to get this done in time. And I said, why? And they told me there were some challenges in the community that we're working with, and things are not going as planned. And so they have called it off. And I said, when I've given my word is my honor. And so we're doing it. So if that community is not ready, it's because it's not their turn. And then as I was talking with them, Spirit said to me, there was this community that you visited and they had asked you to come back. Why don't you offer it to them. And I said to my friend that I was speaking with, go and speak with this community. And they knew the village, and they came and they called me back and they said, Sylvia, the people remember you as if it was yesterday you visited, and they have been waiting for you to come back because you told them you would come back. I said, there it is. That's where it's supposed to happen. Let's go. And in a matter of months, I tell you, the renovations on the building started and folks were organized to do the work. And in the meantime, here I was in Toronto, organizing my students to come to Ghana. I'm offering an international placement to Ghana, which I had no plan for. I heard myself say in my classroom at the college that I was teaching that I'm offering an international placement to students to participate in projects that I am doing in Ghana. This would be an opportunity for them to participate in international development work, because a lot of times students are studying international development, but they're studying it from books and in classrooms. They haven't actually gone and done it. In fact, there was one person who came with us on one of our trips, and she has a master's in international development. She says, I haven't traveled to any place to do it.
Right? That's, yeah.
She studied, right? So this was a very important placement that students were getting the opportunity to participate in. And because personally, I had done that as a student in my life before and know the value of that, I was very excited to offer that to students. But the truth is, I didn't have it all planned. So I want to remind folks, the idea in your heart, and I'm saying in your heart intentionally, because the one in your head, you can think it over and over and over and over. The one in your heart is from spirit. And if spirit has put it in your heart, it is because that is what life wants to express through you. You have been chosen to bring this to the world. So don't second guess it and don't fret about it. Just say yes. Yes, I'm going to do that. Once we say yes, then the first step will be revealed to you. And after you say yes to the first step, the second step will be revealed to you. Now, when I say yes, I don't mean just open your mouth and say yes. I mean making a commitment to taking the action that is required and taking the first action. So when you take the first action, the second action will be shown to you. Just take it. The third one will be shown. And after a while, they start coming so fast, you want to say, hold up.
Yeah, I am so with you on this ride, because this has happened to me. I mean, it happened to me with this podcast. And it happened to me with meeting you and all the others from around the world that I've had the honor of interviewing without knowing how to do a podcast, I had no idea what I was doing, just like you. It was just this guide. And you have a choice. You can listen or you can fight it.
Yes.
And many people allow fear to come in, and we fight that pull that's bringing us to where we really know we want to go, but we're scared that if we fail or if we're judged or whatever the reasons are. And so, through the podcast, I always try to say that I love when people speak about getting through the muck. There's going to be these things thrown at us, these banana peels in our way. But we have to move them off the road so that we can continue to forge forward. Life is too short to stop ourselves from doing the things that we're called to do.
Yes. And something I want to say about that also is that the thing that you are called to do, the thing that I am called to do, the desire in my heart, it's not just for me. I want to say to your viewers and to our listeners, it's not just for you. If it was just for me, I could decide, okay, I won't do that. I don't really need to do that, or I don't feel like doing it. It's not just for you. Somebody else's life is connected to that. And I know this to be true, that the dream in my heart, for example, when I announced in my classroom that I was offering an international placement to Ghana, right there in the room at that moment, somebody raised her hand and said, I would love to do that. How do I apply? This was the first time I was meeting her. So it's not that she had heard that this was coming, it's possible. This was the first time I was speaking it out of my mouth. In fact, it was the first time I was hearing it. She was hearing it for the first time. Yet she said, I would like to do that. How do I apply? It means then that Spirit knew she would be in the classroom that day, and I could do this. I could give leadership to this work. And so Spirit spoke out of my mouth that this is going to happen. And she realized, yes, that's something I want to do. So here we are connected in our hearts, making each other's dream come true. Within a matter of weeks from that day, when I said it in the classroom, I had 10 students apply for this placement. None of them, except that one student, was in my classroom when I said it. 10 students applied. How did that happen? Because the desire that was in my heart, the idea that Spirit placed there, was there so that their dreams could be manifested.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Within months, 17 of us showed up in Ghana for the first library project. 8 of those people were community members, not anybody from my classroom. There were people in community who saw an email that said, I'm taking people to Ghana. This is what we're going to be doing. I am hosting an information session to tell you about it. Would you like to hear more? If you would, please register. People showed up. And at that time, it wasn't Zoom. So people left their homes on a Saturday morning to meet with me at a venue to learn about this. When Spirit puts an idea in your heart, it's not only about you. Other people's lives are connected to this.
And this leads me to share something that I am so excited about, because of the fact that, as you can all hear, Sylvia is just a true, amazing, and incredible inspiration. Just when you talk to her, she brings you in on the journey. It's like we're reading a book, but you're live and just taking us on this incredible journey. So every year I have the honor of honoring someone at the Changemakers Forum. And it was hands down the easiest decision I could make, that for 2024, and yes, this is coming early, but for 2024, that Sylvia is going to be on my Inspire Change honoree for the 2024 Changemakers Forum, which I am just so grateful to know you, and I adore you as a human being. You have a heart of gold. And so thank you for allowing me to be on this journey with you as well.
Jody, I am pinching myself, honestly. Yeah. And that award, for me, I feel like I'm holding it already.
It'll be coming your way in a couple of months, that's for sure.
Thank you so much. I'm really grateful. And it really goes to show that we just do what your heart says to do. I don't do this work because of awards or rewards. I do this work because I really believe in the transformation that it causes for others, and the transformation that happens to me every single day. And I also feel like, as I am doing it, I am opening a door, or I'm opening doors for others to also step in. So sometimes when I feel like, forget it, you've already done so much, stop now. I say, no, somebody else is watching or waiting or second guessing themselves. And I want them to see that it can be done simply. You don't have to have a lot. Although I would love to have a lot, I will do more. So if you're out there and you have a lot, please share some with me.
Right. Linksacrossborders.org is your website, right?
That's right. That's right. Yes. And I want to share with others that we don't have to have all the plans nicely laid out. No, because, I think I must enjoy naivety. I think I do. Because
I do too. I'm with you.
I think when I know all the details, or at least most of the details, I start feeling like it's too much. I can't do it. I can't do it. How am I going to accomplish that? It's bigger than me. But when I have the idea and I take the first step or make the first move, that's doable. I can do that. So I do it. The first move on the international placement was saying it out loud in my classroom. Yeah. The second move was I rushed to the washroom and I say to Spirit, what should I tell the student who has asked me, what's the process? Because I didn't have a process planned. And then by the time she came to me at the end of class, I was able to tell her, send me your resume. That was step number 2. So now I know, okay, step number 1, I made the announcement. Step number 2, I told her, send me your resume. I don't know how the rest of it is going to go yet. It will arrive. The thing is, I really do believe in my heart, and I know this now too. Like, you could wake me up in the middle of the night, I can tell you this. The universe, God, Spirit, is always working on my side and on your side as well, whoever you are that is listening. There are times when the events in our lives, it doesn't look like God is working on your side, or the universe is working on your side, or source is working on your side. Like, no, my life is, things are really bad. It's not working out for me. I guarantee you, if you just stick with it, allow yourself to move through, ground yourself with your breath. Yes, your breath is there to help you reconnect with your body and be in your body, because we are humans in this body to experience this life. And this life is not only a bed of roses. And I say not only because, yes, there are parts of our lives that feels like a bed of roses. And we probably want to feel that all the time, but honestly, it would get boring. Mm-hmm. Yes. Sure. So the challenges come to help us to grow muscles, to deal with them, to grow through them. Our babies start walking by falling down. And we were fine as babies, falling and getting up and falling again and getting up. And then we became adults and we're like, no, I'm supposed to be perfect. Well, I'm not at that stage of baby walking, but I am baby in my new whatever that is on the journey. I'm a baby in it if this is my first time. And I'm a baby in it, maybe even my 5th time, because I'm still learning to walk in that. So allow yourself to fall down and get up. And remember, as parents, we are the cheerleaders for our children as they're falling down and getting up and falling down and getting up. They fall down and we clap, oh, you did it. And the kid is on the floor. But we're still clapping. You get up, man, get up, you get up. Right? If we don't have already, if you don't have the people in your life who will be that for you, your cheerleader, find some. That's it. Find some. Don't be worried about the fact that, oh, my family members are not cheering me on. My siblings are not cheering me on. My children are not cheering me on. It's okay. There are many other people who would cheer you on. Maybe they're not cheering you on because they're so afraid for you. They're so afraid. They don't know what it is that you're doing. I know in my own life. My siblings sometimes worry about me. So they might be standing there like this. And I am thinking, why aren't they doing this? It's probably because they don't know what the heck I'm doing. And they're like, what is she doing again? Going off by herself all the way to Africa. So they're not cheering, not because they don't love me, but because they're worried or because they're afraid. Yeah. And I have to remind myself ongoing that this is not their journey. This is mine. So allow them to feel what they're feeling, give them updates to know that I'm okay, and keep going. Keep going, right? Because they also have their journey to do, to move through. And so I want to say to whoever is listening, if you don't have people in your life who you can, in your family, let's say, or your close relatives, let's say, who are your cheerleaders, don't judge them. Don't be mad at them. Don't be irritated about it. Find some cheerleaders. There are lots of other people who will cheer you on. And it's not because they don't care about you. Maybe they just don't understand and they're afraid. And maybe they just don't know what it is. And they don't know what questions to ask you. And they're wondering, are you crazy? And they may have seen some mistakes that you have made in the past, and they're thinking she's doing it again. It's okay. That is their opinion. Find some cheerleaders and let's go.
Oh, I love that and needed to hear that. So I appreciate that. So like, there's a reason we say things sometimes and you don't even know what the other person's going through. And then it just, that message is meant also for you. So I appreciate you so much because that message is definitely well taken here too.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Pam 10 is a leader in IT enterprise solutions and staffing. They are driven to transform their clients' business performances. They do this every day by providing their clients with the best services and products. Products like BizLego, an online community platform, and Colear, a unique learning management system. They also transform the lives of women and children through their associated nonprofits, SheTech, which supports women in and joining the technology field, and Softkin, support organization for kids in need. Pam 10, technology for social good. Go to pam10.com for more information. So I want to talk about your book. I am so excited. You are going to be a first-time author. How exciting. So tell us this is, and when it's happening, and give us the background on it. This is amazing.
Oh my. You know, this book, I am so excited about this book. You know, last year around this time, I co-authored a compilation book with others. And that book was launched in June of last year. And during that time, last year, I've said it many times and people wonder if I'm serious or I'm joking. I am serious. I died. The book launched, it went bestseller, and I died. And I think Spirit allowed that death to happen to show me that the things in our lives that we're desiring to do and we are seeking Spirit's help to do can be done without too much work if we trust. So here I was, we had a lot of activity planned to send that book, to launch that book as a bestseller. And on the day when it became a bestseller, I was in my bed can't move, can't do anything. Yet, Spirit was taking it where it needed to go. I came back, I recovered from that. And the very first, I had a very bad concussion through that event that I died from. And the first time that I was able to look at and read emails on my computer, and I probably could only read like 2 because I couldn't deal with the light, I couldn't look. But I saw an email that said, Miriam Laundrie had this publishing mastermind, and this was my last opportunity to register. You know, it was an ad. It was a Facebook ad or an email, some ad, right? And I read that, and immediately, as much as I couldn't think, but something kept saying, you have to register, you have to register. So I just wrote in the email, I responded to the email saying, could we have a conversation? That was it. We booked a conversation, and I can't remember what she said to me in the conversation. All I knew is that I'm supposed to write this children's book. The thing is, Spirit had told me, and I had said to the children in our reading club, that we would be writing a children's book, that they would become authors, that authors were not some special people from the sky, that authors were ordinary people like them, and I wanted to show them that this was possible. The children had now started to believe this and were writing stories. And I am the one to lead them in this process. But I found out that as much as I've been an educator all my life, I didn't know how to write children's stories. So I needed to learn. And so this particular mastermind, publishing mastermind, was something I needed, because I had reached out to friends asking them who had written, even you had connected me actually. You had connected me with 2 people who were published children's book authors. Mm-hmm. And they gave me links to this and to that, read this, check that. And I realized it's not working. This is not my way. And so I registered in this program, in this mentorship, and I learned how to write children's book. I wrote the story within 2 hours. The point is, when Spirit has given it to you, you don't have to do a lot of work to get it done. It was there. I just needed to vomit it out on paper. So I did that. And then the rest of the process was done in the mastermind. So we got the designer, we had the editor, all of these pieces that I don't know to do came together, and my book is ready. Ready! Yeah. Now, why am I doing this? Why? I'm doing this because Spirit told me 2 years ago to write this book. And I went off and did a different book. Yes. And this story has been in me since I was a little girl. And this story is not only a children's book for now, it also has several other parts to it that involve other people that will be a series, and those are coming. Why am I doing it? I'm doing it because children here in Ghana are authors. They have it in them, and I want to show them that. When I came, what I saw was the need for them to be sitting under a tree reading books. And now that need still remains, and we continue to meet it. But I also see another need, a need for them to know that they are just as good as anybody else, and that they have stories, and that they have the capacity to write stories. And so when a child in my reading club, after I was telling them how good they are and how much they have to offer and that they could write stories, One child asked, Mama, have you written a story? And what was the answer? The answer would be no. I couldn't afford that no. And so I said, I'm writing one, and yours will be next. So I have written this book to show them that we can do it. I've written one. Here is mine. Now I'm going to help you to bring yours forward. And what is exciting to me right now is that the children are lining up to be authors. They're lining up. They've written stories. They have brought me little pieces of paper already say, Mama, here is my story.
Oh, that's so beautiful, Sylvia. So
Yes.
beautiful. What's the name of your book?
Grace's Lunch. Grace's Lunch. And Grace's Lunch is a story not only about lunch itself. It's a story about sharing. It is a story about how certain events in our lives can cause our lives to change. Simple events in our lives. And in that particular story, we're talking about this child whose lunch made a difference, whose lunchtime changed. You know, we've often heard about Jesus taking a little boy's lunch and serving 5,000 people. And I want children to identify with the amazing things that they're hearing happen. So we hear that Jesus used somebody's lunch to feed 5,000 people. But do we know anybody whose lunch has really changed anybody else's life? Well, I want children in Ghana to see that they actually have lunch that's making a difference, and that they know people whose lunch is making a difference. And I will show them how their lunch can make a difference in other people's lives. And I will also show them, and there are many children who have along the journey, Links Across Borders journey, have shared their lunch. And I want to write about those children too. So this is the beginning of something that I am delighted, I am really thrilled about. This is a book that will change many children's lives. I want the book to be here for children in Ghana so that when they're reading it, they know the author, because they don't know an author in their lives. Representation matters. So children who look like me know that I am the founder of Links Across Borders, a nonprofit organization that builds libraries here in Ghana and facilitates educational programs for them. And they're wrapping their head around, and I continue to say to them, you can be as successful or even more successful than I am, because I grew up like you in a little village like this with a single parent mom. So you can do it too. And I've been saying you can become authors, and they're wondering, but I have never seen an author. And I've said to them, authors are ordinary people. They're saying, but I've never seen any of those ordinary people. In their little minds, they're thinking it. Well, when Grace's lunch lands in their hands, their hot little hands here, they will see my name on it. This morning in our reading club, we were doing introductions. We're learning how to introduce ourselves properly. And I'm saying to them, when you say your name, don't just don't say your name as if all of your name is one word, like my name is da, 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 da. No, say your name, one name at a time. So I am Sylvia Morrison. And when it was my turn, somebody said to me, so Mama, because here in the village, I am Mama Agbalenyo the first. I am a queen mother. She said, so what is your name? And I said, I am Sylvia Morrison. Now, I was glad she asked the question, because when the book arrives, I want her to see Sylvia Morrison on it. And then she will realize she knows the author. And then I can say, what will be the name on your book? Who will be the author? What's the name? That's what I want for these children.
Chills.
That's what I want.
And you're giving them such an amazing gift. Such an amazing gift. Tell us where we can get the book and when it launches.
It launches on June 1st on Amazon. And I would really appreciate if everyone would share this information with their friends. You know why I want you to share this and why I want you to buy the book. I would like you actually to buy many copies if you can. And I would like you, if you know places and people who can buy boxes of the book, to do that. Because here in Ghana, I checked, if I'm to have the book, if I'm to buy books from Amazon and have them shipped to us, one book is going to cost us $46.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Not for you. For you to buy it on Amazon, I think the price is, I don't remember for sure, but I think it's about $13. Yes, but because this is Ghana in Africa, it doesn't just show up here as easily. Can you please help me? I would like you to buy lots and lots of copies. And I would like you to donate them to Links Across Borders. And Sylvia Morrison will figure out the shipping. I've been shipping books to Ghana for years. I would like to ship Grace's lunch to Ghana, and you don't have to pay that shipping. Just buy a copy, buy a few copies, buy boxes of copies for children in Ghana. I'd love if you would do that. On June 1st, on June 1st. Let's break Amazon with your purchases.
Absolutely. And I will be putting this out there a lot. I really want to see you be able to distribute these books to all the children who need them there. It's incredible. Do you have a copy of it there with you yet?
No, not yet. I just have, because I am in Ghana. Yes. So what I intend to do is to order my copies, have them shipped to my home in Canada, and be nice to my daughter and ask her to open the box for us so that you'll get to see my book. I have shared the cover online, and I will continue to post that so that folks will see what the cover looks like. And when they go to Amazon on June 1st, they will get to see the whole book and purchase a copy, please. Yes. And I'm going to be asking different ones there in Canada and other parts of the world where you can easily get to the book to purchase your copy and let me see you reading it. Send me an image of you reading it on launch day. Send me a picture of you reading it, or even after launch day, you will get your copy and you read it. I would love to see that. You might end up getting your copy before I get mine, but mine will be at my house waiting for me to come back.
Well, I know I will be buying definitely some, and I would love to ship some to you, and I'm excited to be able to do that. And I know that I know a few little ones who could definitely benefit from reading this book. So I personally will be giving them out here as well in New Jersey. So I'm so excited about that. Please send me a copy of the front cover, and I'm going to post it too on our social media. Yes. Amazon is going to have it again on June 1st. Yes. linksacrossborders.org. Remember that. Donate, help, support. It doesn't matter where you're located in the world. You can help someone somewhere else because their passion and their mission is so important to the greater community and the greater world than just where you live in your town and your city and your state. We get so caught up between boundaries and borders that we forget that there's a life outside of our own communities sometimes. So I'm so glad to be able to meet people like you, Sylvia, who are doing just incredible work in your corner of the world, and we get to hear about what you're doing. Anything else before we go that you want to share with the audience today?
I want to say that I'm really, really grateful for the support of so many people. There are some folks who have never and probably will never show up in Ghana, but they have given so much over the years. And so I want to say thank you. When we were getting ready to hire the illustrator for this book, I realized finances was an issue. And I thought, oh my gosh, we've now come to a bump in the road. And my author coach said to me, Sylvia, you're doing such great work in the world. I'm sure folks would want to support you if you ask, but I've had a problem asking. So I do things on my own. And so I decided, and a past student of mine said, I'd be happy to do a GoFundMe for you. Yes. And so she got it set up because I didn't know how to do that. I had never done it before, and my own mental block around that. And she set it up for me. And within how many months? I don't remember how many months, but within a short period of time, before it was time for me to pay the illustrator, GoFundMe had exceeded our goal. Yes. And so what I want to say is thank you. Thanks to each person who donated. And if you didn't donate because you couldn't donate or you didn't feel like donating, thank you. You have read, you have seen, you have been part of this journey in one way or another. And I want to say thank you to each person. There's so many, there are names that I could call. I don't want someone else to feel like she didn't say my name and I had done something. So I won't say names, but you know who you are. There's one person who said to me, if you raise this much by this time, I will match it. And he did. Came through for me. There's someone who has offered us funding for the next 4 years for programs that we are running for certain things. I say, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I just want to end with thank you.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I love having you on. I could talk to you forever. And I know people are just, they want more. So we'll have you back on after the book launches, and love to see some pictures of the kids reading it once that happens. So that'll be great. It'll be a nice follow-up to this episode. So Sylvia, I again want to say thank you and congratulate you on being the 2024 Inspired Change honoree for the Changemakers Forum. You're taking that spot from Fred Wozniak, another incredible change maker. I know that you and him have chatted via Zoom multiple times.
Yes. And I'm happy to be following Fred. He's a dear friend. He's my boyfriend who doesn't talk to me.
Can't wait for him to hear that. That's great. Yeah, he is, because he adores you right back. So that's what's so amazing. But you guys will finally get to have a Zoom, just a conversation between the two of you for sure. I know that's coming up. But I just want to thank you for the change maker work you're doing every day. You're beyond your organization and you're being an author now, a new author, and an inspirer. You're a life coach, a motivator, a mentor. There's just a long list of titles that you hold without even wanting them. They're just there for you. So thank you for all that you're doing.
Thank you so, so much, Jody. I'm very grateful for this opportunity and the work that you're doing in the world, because that's how we met. If you weren't doing this work, we wouldn't have met. So I'm really grateful for you and your journey, that our paths not only cross, but we are standing here together, journeying together. You're doing great things in the world, my friend, and I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot to me. Thanks, Sylvia. Coming from you, that's amazing. I appreciate it so much. So everybody remember, links across borders. Go on Amazon.com and get Sylvia's Grace's Lunch, new author. Let's support her and let's send some books to the kids in Ghana. They deserve it, and she deserves it for all the work that she is doing. Let's also make sure to review the book too and get it on the bestseller list.
Yes.
That's something I want to make sure that we help you do as well. So thank you again. And I'm going to say what I say at the end of every single podcast. Today is the day. You cannot go back to yesterday, and you do not yet own tomorrow. So what small or large steps are you going to take today to get yourself closer to your goals? Have a great week, everyone. And Sylvia, all the best to you.
Thank
Bye.
you.